a desire to be you, some creativity, and loads of joy can give rise to amazing conversations. Please do listen in Theatre of Joy. And like and subscribe, please.
Like, I remember the first few years when I remember going to the interior parts of Punjab in villages, and I remember there was something interesting that they'll call a person who will come for family functions or weddings or maybe a musical performance, and will come and put the sound and the lighting for them. So they'll call him Latu Sing.
Latu Sing.
The Latu.
That's funny.
Yeah, Latu is a Punjabi word. In English, it means a light bulb.
Yes.
So they were called Latus. So Latu Singh, come here, Latu Singh, this is not working properly or whatever. So that was the way, people, that was the outlook. But it was in the interior parts of Punjab as well. So what I'm saying is that the perspective towards what lighting can do for a performance, people were not very aware of. And slowly and steadily, I think people started looking at this idea of lighting being used as a performative language, as an element which can become not of a passive sort of an element of the stage, but a co-player, a co-actor, a co-performer with the performers, with the other performers. How can it so my idea was to create a sort of a language where lighting can become also a storyteller along with the actors.
Oh wow.
Or the dancers.
How exciting. Hello. Welcome to the podcast, Theatre of Joy. I am so excited to bring to you today GyanDev Singh. GyanDev is a well celebrated and well known light designer in the country and abroad. He's also a theatre artist, a filmmaker, and he flirts with clowning in the street and hospitals, and also architectural lighting. He lights up buildings, and he would love to light more and more buildings because he loves them. GyanDev does music for television programs. And did I mention that he's a filmmaker? GyanDev, I'm so excited to have you here today and to have a nice long talk with you, which I don't get to do. So, what would you like to tell everyone about yourself?
Well, I always had this love for the stage and theatre, and that's how I was fortunate enough to be born in a family where everyone was doing theatre. My father, my mother, all my aunts, and my cousins. So, so it's a great family to be born in and raised in. And I think my background about my understanding about the stage comes from that. And so that's what it is.
Yes. And I remember the melas that you used to go to as a child, where you'd play with kids, the Friends of Children corner.
Yes.
That was fun times.
Yes, it was fun. I mean, working with children has always been like something that I really enjoy, and I feel there's that moment of tenderness that I've experienced every time I've worked with children. And yeah, that's pretty close to my heart still.
But your first love is light designing.
Yes, actually it is. My first love is light design, and in fact I always was attracted towards shiny objects, and lights always attracted me as a child as well. I remember, but I think my journey started when I went to NSD, National School of Drama, where I started looking at how spaces are lit, and I was always curious about wondering, like, wow, lights can make such a huge difference in in sculpting and shaping the space, a 3D space.
Yeah.
And I guess I got, interested in that while I was a student at NST. Yeah.
And but you, what did you graduate in?
I did my
Direction.
specialization was design and direction.
Oh, okay.
Stage design and direction.
Yes, yes.
And of course, while I was a student in my third year, I started, I started showing my interest in light. So I was usually doing the light design for all the student productions and all of that. So yeah, it was a fun time. I didn't really think about this becoming a career, but something that I enjoyed doing, and I was good at it intuitively. So it was easy. It came easy to me. And yeah, that's how I started light designing. And yep, I've been doing that ever since.
So I remember the first time I saw you doing the lighting for the student productions when I used to come and see the productions in NST. And after a few productions, I realized that lighting, for the first time I realized that lighting makes a difference. And I think that, maybe it's a huge claim, but I think you did bring the different perspective to how performances and theatre programs and dances can be lit. I don't remember the focus being on lighting earlier. Lighting was something that people did to enhance or to show the audience or whatever. But as a character of its own, I don't think I remember before watching your productions. Maybe I didn't see many in India.
I think it was also the timing that when I was growing up at that time, there was a major shift happening in technology in the theatre arts and the stage technology. So I came at that really ideal time to where people were exploring lighting and other sort of a technical design aspects, elements of stage design. They were exploring using them more because technology was getting better, it was getting easier, cheaper. So I guess that was a time when I also started getting interested in different kinds of lights that they were there. And so I feel that it's not that lighting wasn't people didn't emphasize on lighting before, but it was just that because times were changing, new technology was coming in, which was getting cheaper and more accessible. Therefore, more and more people were willing to include it and experiment with it.
So you saw your time was when you had the playing field in lighting and stage design was expanding and becoming larger.
Yeah, it was. It was. And I think there were more and more young directors, actors who were willing to think in terms of lighting as well. While they were choreographing or they were directing or designing, they were looking at lighting as an element, as a design element. And I think that is crucial because a lot of directors before that, they were not even looking at the possibility of having of lighting playing a sort of a more inclusive role within the production. So I think that was a shift as well, and I came at that right time when that shift was happening. And I was interested in just lighting up spaces and dance performances or theater, and that's how I started lighting. That's how I started.
Exciting times, huh?
Yeah.
And do you remember any time when, can you give us any anecdotes about how your playing and the opportunities that opened up for you, as well as performers with all these new elements coming in stage design.
Yeah, I mean, like I remember the first few years when I remember going to the interior parts of Punjab in villages, and I remember there was something interesting that they will call a person who will come for family functions or weddings or maybe a musical performance, and will come and put the sound and the lighting for them. So they'll call him Latu Singh.
Latu Sing.
The Latu,
That's funny.
yeah, Latu is a Punjabi word. In English, it means a light bulb.
Yes.
So they were called Latus. So Latu Singh, come here, Latu Singh, this is not working properly or whatever. So that was the way, people, that was the outlook. But
Yeah.
it was in the interior parts of Punjab as well. So what I'm saying is that the perspective towards what lighting can do for a performance, people were not very aware of, and slowly and steadily, I think people started looking at this idea of lighting being used as a performative language, as an element which can become not of a passive sort of an element of the stage, but a co-player, a co-actor, a co-performer with the performers, with the other performers. How can it? So my idea was to create a sort of a language where lighting can become also a storyteller along with the actors.
Oh, wow.
Or the dancers.
How exciting.
Yeah, and it can also, not only that, but it can also interact with the dancers and the actors. So there's a sort of a synergy that I feel I was trying to build through my work. And that was actually what was exciting me at that time. Yeah.
So you've come a long way in your journey, in your playing with stage design.
Yeah, I mean, yes, of course, we have come a long way, where it started and now where even the technology, the way it's changing every year, new equipment is coming in, and things have really sort of kind of moved from what they were even 6-7 years ago.
And I feel that kind of almost like a dialogue between stage design and the possibilities that opened up there, and players like you playing in that field, and what was available for performers to enhance, or the possibilities that opened up for the performers, because you guys were there playing with stage design, and so it must have helped each other, everything along. And right now, I mean, even in films and in theater and huge performances and classical dance, every performance is interesting in what it opens up for the audiences, for the viewers. This is very, very exciting. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it has been a journey, because I think while I was working, and there was a few more lighting designers, stage designers working, I remember directors and choreographers telling me that, you know what, we did that show with you last time, and now I've started thinking, while I'm choreographing or while I'm directing, I'm thinking about this aspect of lighting. How can I involve more of it? And you see, I think it's the perception. Lighting creates a perception for the audiences, and it's not the amount of lights that you're using. It's the nature of light itself that you're playing with. So, for example, we're looking at outside, we look at the window and we see a certain kind of light which is falling on the trees. More than the light itself, what happens to it when it falls on that object? What does it create? And I think that is not only a visual experience, it's an emotional experience as well. because all of this does affect us
I mean,
emotionally.
like shadows bring us down,
Correct.
dark places bring us down,
Yeah. I mean,
are mysterious.
yes, a lot of things can. There are a lot of ways of, like, there's science behind it. But more than that, I'm actually talking about the human experience of looking at light. I mean, which is innately personal. It's very subjective. It's very emotional, because I feel people connect to art emotionally, not cognitively. So what is that link that light is able to sort of fill, which creates that link between the audiences and the performance? How the audience is looking, what perception are they looking from? And we see that in films. The way the camera tells us where you would see now. If it's panning to the right, the whole audience is seeing what is happening to the right of the space, or left. So in the same way, I think lighting I've been trying to create that aspect of creating a perception of a visual perception for a performance to happen in.
So, for me and our lay audiences, what would you say is the difference between what Latu Singh was dealing with and what possibilities have opened up for you, for a designer like you, who's willing to play and who uses a lot of creativity and creative thinking, and does a lot of homework on So what would be the difference between what Latu Singh had to deal with and what you are,
I mean, the light can be, because light is a form of expression. You can use it in various ways. You can use it only for illumination, what lights are used for. You can also use lighting to tell a story. It depends, entirely depends on how you are using that medium itself. So I guess a Latu Singh in somewhere in Ludhiana, or not even in Ludhiana now, because Ludhiana also has a theatre stage scene there. So maybe a smaller part of Punjab, where things are still opening up with facilities and perspectives for people. I feel that collectively the art community is coming to recognize it as a very powerful medium. So it's the trickle down effect. It's happening on the upper scale, upper level, where the scales are bigger, we have bigger performances, but also it's trickling down to sort of medium size performances, and also intimate small performances. Because it is not, I think my seniors and my teachers whom I kind of consulted for lighting, they always had this not criticism, but they had this this idea that lighting can, because India is a poor country, and the performance scene is not really as vibrant. There is always a problem
with the funds.
So facilities are not there. So you get into an auditorium very late, and it's not enough time to set up the lighting or do elaborate sets and all of that. But my experience tells me that it's not really about how many lights are you putting, what is the scale of your lighting or set design or whatever. It's the precision that you have. It's the clarity in your design. What are you really trying to say? The distilled clarity on what you want to be seen on stage.
And this you work out together with the performing artist.
Yeah, you can work out together. You can work out together. Usually it's a dialogue between the director and the designer. But what I'm trying to say is that this notion that lighting needs a lot of funding, and it's a expensive this thing, I feel it is changing a lot now, because there are smaller performances that I see done with very few lights, but you know, they've used it wisely. They've used it in a way which is conveying something, which is bringing value to the visual aspect of the performance and also the emotional aspect of the performance. So there is a difference there, which I think the people have started understanding, that you can use lighting like that.
So it's not about the spectacle and the pomp and show, but it's about, wisdom, creativity, and to bring out, so that the director's vision and the performers, the artist's art and the lights can bring out a nice synergy, so that all of them work for a good total theatre experience, which audiences are always hungry for.
Yeah. I mean, spectacle, yes, you can do a spectacle, but also you can create something which is intimate, which is not too big, but it's something that it's emotional, it's strong. You can create those elements as well, those aspects in a performance. And like any other aspect of theater or the stage, you have the set design, you have the costumes, you have so many other things. You can make it spectacular. You can also make it depends on what the subject is and how you're dealing.
What the director's vision is.
Yeah, and how you're dealing with it. I think mostly it's not only the vision of the director as much as it's 3-4 people coming together, and they have their own specializations. One is good with in direction, one is maybe focusing more on lights, which I would be, one is somebody else is in costumes or in sets. The music, and they're coming together just to create something. And say, okay, let's do. Let's
fun.
Yeah, so it's more. I think for me, that's what my experience has been. This whole idea of the director having a vision, and then he's hiring. Excuse me. He's hiring designers to execute his vision. Yeah, it's a very Western concept.
It's had its day also.
Yeah. It comes from a very Western style of theater performance making. And I guess in India it's never been like this. It's been more of a community space. It's been more of a sort of a non-hierarchical comparatively than the West. In India it's always been a sort of a collective work, and that's what I like about it. And I think how the trends are changing all over the world now is that performance making is becoming more and more non-hierarchical. Is becoming more more sort of more community based. And that's what I love about it now. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah.
And because technology is also growing much faster than before, the lighting has found its way in like architectural lighting or installations, and using projectors as light sources, which I was doing maybe a decade ago. We started, and at that time we didn't even have this idea of projection mapping, which has become very big now. So things, so that also is, so lighting is finding its way in different aspects of our lives. Yeah.
So is it exciting when the director or the production team, or the people who are making performance makers actually invite you in and are willing to change their ideas about how the performance is going to show up with what you can tell them about what they can do with the lights?
Of course.
It happens all the time, or does it happen?
It happens all the time.
Oh wow. That must be exciting.
Yeah, because I think this generation, the performance makers, they understand that if you're hiring somebody or if you're inviting someone to come and design lighting for you, that person is going to bring his own ideas and his own aesthetics inputs, and then and then that's why you would need a designer, right? Or else you can take a technician if you know what you require, and then you tell the technician that this is what I want, this is, I want it like this, so he'll do it for you. Yeah. So I think things have changed now a lot, and I think it's got a bright future. Yeah. Exciting.
Yeah. And ideally, what would you like to tell people who are inviting you to participate in their design, and what should they open themselves up to? I'm just saying, so that if people watching and who have not worked with you earlier, what would they should be open for? What would be an ideal performance maker?
No, I think they are already pretty open with the people that I've been working with. There is a energy of openness, of inclusiveness, of including ideas, and I think it's about the other person recognizing that, okay, this person knows what he's doing. So whatever he brings to the table is going to be something which is valuable. So that value addition, once anyone sees that, then they do kind of they do want your inputs, and I think as a designer, I feel I am only playing with lights. I'm not really thinking about how am I going to design it, what is the what message do I want to give, or how is it going to play out on a bigger level. But I'm not really thinking about that. I'm thinking about the more sort of acoustic understanding of the play, the energies which are going on, what is really happening with the body, with the dancer's body or the actor's body, how are they reacting to music, how's the music being played, is it live, is it recorded, what kind of music is it, and accordingly I think that design process is a very it's a very intuitive process for me. It doesn't start with well thought out ideas. It probably starts with an inspiration of a certain movement or a certain music track, and then with that I start building on it.
And I guess the space, you've done some performances which have been done in forts and all these historical places also.
Forts also,
that
and
must
also
be exciting.
auditoriums and found spaces. So yeah. I mean, a space like the Sydney Opera House is different because it's a proscenium space, and it's got and maybe a Red Fort performance there is a different experience, is a different space. So how does one light those spaces? So the space itself speaks something about the performance. So yeah, that has been something, and lately I've realized that lighting itself can tell its own story, and also interact with the other elements, but also it becomes a way you connect all the aspects of your performance together, because lighting is the way people look at something. If it's illuminated, the way it is illuminated, it says something. So it can kind of be a sort of a broader perspective of the whole performance.
And does lighting also punctuate the performance? I don't know, just
yeah, I mean, it is going to punctuate, because it's creating, it's there with the narrative, and so it's creating, you can create punctuations, and you can create those moments of where the emotional graph is changing, something like that. So we can, so of course it's It's moving in that way. But what is more important for me is instead of looking at what spaces it's creating, yes, of course, but also like how is it connecting emotionally to people for me, because what I feel this I'm connecting to something in a way maybe the other person is not. So I'm designing it according to what I feel it is, but trying to make it not as specific, but on an abstract level. It's creating that energy in me, it's creating that emotion in me on an abstract level. I feel that is more that excites me more than making sure okay, this is exactly what this time of the day is this, and
So it's not about the brain, it's about the embodiment.
yeah. It has never been about the brain.
I'm reaching out to the brain.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So, what would you tell the young people listening today who would love to adopt light design as a profession, as a career?
I think
Where can they go learn?
I think on job would be the best way.
Yeah.
Try it. You start working and you start exploring and you realize, oh, this is fun. This is what I like to do, and maybe I can try this also. I can try that also. I can include that as well, and that's how probably you make your own repertoire in light design. What all you and therefore make your own, build your style. So yeah, I think it's an exciting time.
And play, I guess.
And play.
Yeah.
And play is important in theatre. I mean, it's called a play.
Improvisation.
So yeah, a play is important, and that interaction, that synergy is also important. As technology is changing, we are also kind of the design aesthetics are also changing. The new equipment is coming in, and therefore new things can be done, and therefore the aesthetics are changing. So it's an exciting time for any young person wanting to become a lighting designer, for stage or for installation art or for architectural sites. Yeah, films. It is a way that and it's playing a more important role in all these different fields. Yeah.
Okay, and also I would like to get this in. You flirt with clowning.
Yeah.
And with theatre improvisation. So, and I've seen you clowning in hospitals and other spaces, out in the open. So, talk about that a bit.
I think I got attracted towards theatre is because I used to love being on stage, and acting was my first in point into performance theatre. So I love being performing for somebody. That's good fun, and clowning has always been something that I like. The freedom that clowning gives me, the freedom of expression, the freedom of being myself, the freedom of saying whatever I would like to say in a way that doesn't offend the other person, because I'm playing a clown. I'm not playing GyanDev, so there is no ego of that, and it's a good way of connecting with people. More and more, I feel that now the connection is so difficult for people to have with each other, with their communities, not only their families, but also people in their community. It's becoming difficult. So clowning is a really great way of connecting.
When you're wearing the red nose, you can just reach out unabashedly and
you can
talk to and be funny with anyone you.
Yeah, and people also are more welcoming because they are not looking at you as GyanDev Singh, but they're looking at you, oh, he's a clown. He looks harmless, and that's an end point for a dialogue to happen.
Yeah.
That's a safe space that you create for each other, for a connection to happen, for any interaction to happen.
For fun and
for
humor.
fun and humor also. Yeah. Yeah.
Even without the nose, you can clown and add a little humor to stuff, and it always,
True.
opens the space.
Very true.
Expands it.
Very true. I do believe that there's a huge connection I have with clowning, and that's only primarily because I'm able to connect to others. I'm able to sort of, interact with others in a way that I'm normally as GyanDev I cannot. And I think that's the magic of clowning. It's also like in puppetry, for example, where you want to talk to somebody about something which might make the other
Difficult conversation.
Exactly. So you would kind of say it in a way that I don't know how to really say it. Maybe this person cannot, but if you have a small little doll which is talking to you, then the doll is talking, right?
Yeah.
So it's the other person cannot get offended. And it's a license as
And
well.
people open up also.
And people open up. They're not as threatened. And clowning has given that to me. People not being threatened, and it's easier to sort of start a dialogue. And that's what is important. I mean, that's why I feel I am in the arts, because I crave for that connection, for that dialogue, for that sense of, being in a space with the community. So important. So that's that.
Yeah. We should have another podcast with you about all the other things that you do in your life.
Filmmaking. And,
Yeah. Okay, tell us about, you made one total narrative film, feature film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I made a feature film, and it was on a story of Robindra Nath Tagore called Atithi, and it was done quite some time ago. But of course, me and my father, we both he also was a documentary filmmaker, so I learned from him. And we were together on a very long documentary series called The Forts of India, which was about 26 episodes on 26 forts in the country. So it was wonderful. It was so it was sort of being a part of a cultural film, a film which is looking at the cultural aspect of India,
and you did the music for it also. I
did the music for it as well. I composed and produced the music, and the post-production was also done by me. So it was a great experience.
So क्या करें क्या छोड़ें, ये हो रहा है.
कभी कुछ ले लो, कभी कुछ छोड़ दो, कभी वो कुछ और पकड़ लो, कभी कुछ और. I think it's a very capitalist way of looking at a human being, saying that he is an engineer.
Yes.
He is a doctor. He's a lighting designer. But as humans, we have so many aspects of our personality.
We can be anything we want.
Yeah, as in the sense that we also you can be a lighting designer, but you can also love creating music. You can be an actor. You can also have a conventional job. Like in India, amateur theater is like how people are working in the day jobs, and then they're going in the evenings and doing theater. They're also playing some nice musical instrument at night. They love to. They're great cooks. So there are different aspects of one's personality which I feel in this post-industrial societies we have like a
likes to put us in slots
of who you are. But human nature is not such. It's it's multi-leveled.
Yeah. I could keep talking to you, and maybe we'll continue the conversation later. But thank you so much, GyanDev. I feel so honored, and it was so lovely to have this long conversation with you.
Yeah.
And another time. Yes.
Another place.
Another place.
But it was great being here also and connecting with you like this. It was such a amazing experience.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for all of you watching. Please like and subscribe.